She wasn't searching for love, not anymore, not after she survived. She was just trying to breathe, trying to wake up without drowning in the ache of everything she'd lost. But then he saw her, not the version the world clapped for. He saw her, the silence behind her smile, the weariness hiding behind her bright eyes, and for the first time in forever, she felt seen. She fought the feeling love had betrayed her before, but hearts, they don't ask for permission, they just feel. And somehow, she let herself feel again. He told her, "You are safe with me. No games, no marks, no pretending. You don't have to be strong all the time. You can just be." So she did. She opened up, told him the story she never voiced, revealed the parts she usually hid, and he didn't flinch. He stayed, held her hand through anxiety, kissed her scars with reverence, looked at her like she was an art, flawed, imperfect, breathtaking. It wasn't firework, it wasn't butterflies, it was peace. The kind of love that felt like warm tea on a rainy day, soft music at midnight, a place to land, not lose yourself. She laughed without caution. She danced in the kitchen. She dreamed again. No pressure, no performance, just her, finally free. Because real love doesn't cage you, it doesn't confuse you, it holds you exactly as you are. But slowly the rhyme changed, the rhyme shifted. The text became later, the texts were shorter, the warmth faded into routine. She told herself it was fine, normal, but her gut said otherwise. She tried harder, planned special moments, wore the dress he once loved, laughed at jokes that didn't land. She shrank herself so he would feel more space, but it wasn't enough. He didn't leave with a slam, he left with silence. No fight, no explanation, just distance. And that was the hardest part. Not that he left, but how easily he did. And she reread old texts, replayed old memories, blamed herself. But deep down, she knew she loved him honestly. She gave him safety, and still, he walked away. Pain has a way of awakening you. She stopped begging for awareness. She stopped begging for answers, stopped chasing ghosts, and started choosing herself. She picked up forgotten hobbies, played her favorite song, dressed for herself, laughed for herself, healed for herself. And one day she looked in the mirror and didn't see broken. She saw strength. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that whispers. You made it. You are still standing. And that's enough. Then he came. A text. A call. That familiar voice. He said he missed her. He said he was wrong. He said he wanted another chance. But this time she paused. She remembered the silent nights, the lonely mornings, the strength it took to rebuild, and suddenly going back felt heavier than moving on. So she said, not out of spite, not to punish him, but because she had outgrown the version of herself that waited. She wasn't that girl anymore. She was a woman who learned to love herself first. And saying no felt like closure, like freedom, like peace. She moved differently now. Not with walls, but with wisdom. Not with fear, but with boundaries. She smiled again. Trusted slowly, loved intentionally. She didn't need someone to complete her. She was whole. It wasn't perfect. Some nights were still heavy. Some mornings still ached. But she kept showing up, writing her truth, walking her path, speaking to herself with gentleness. And she bloomed. Not because someone watered her, but because she became her own garden. She no longer chased. She no longer begged to be chosen. She no longer ran after love that ran away from her. She attracted what aligned, what matched her energy, what matched her peace, what honored her boundaries. She didn't need validation. She was her own reminder, her own soft space, her own sanctuary. She never imagined she would get there. That place where her heart didn't ache every day. She wasn't looking for healing, she wasn't searching for love. But somehow the pieces started fitting together. She leaned to be whole without anyone. And then she looked in the mirror and saw a woman she almost didn't recognize. She was strong, not in a way that she used to think strength looked, but in the quiet way her soul had healed itself and one step at a time. It wasn't love that found her first, it was a group of broken souls, women like her who were lost, who needed someone who had walked through the fire. They found her without saying a word, they just knew. The way she carried herself, the calm in her eyes, she didn't have to speak their pain, it was in her every action, every quiet smile. They came to her, sought her out, drawn by the energy she had cultivated. She didn't preach, she didn't offer quick fixes, she just created a space, a safe space. She was the mentor she never had. She shared her scars not to show her strength, but to show them they were not alone. Every story she had buried, every moment she thought had broken her, became the very thing that allowed her to build others up. The walls she once built around her heart, she used them to create bridges for others to cross. Then he came, but this time he didn't come to save her. He came to be with her. She wasn't looking for love, but he saw the real her, the one she had built piece by piece, not the woman who was afraid to trust again, but the one who had learned to stand on her own. He didn't try to rush in and change her. He saw her for everything she was and loved her just as she was. She didn't fall for him, she stood with him. They didn't rush into anything. They weren't in a hurry to be anything. They took their time, built their relationship the way you build a home. Slowly, brick by brick, trust came easily, but love came gently. It wasn't a spark that would burn out, it was a steady flame that burned brighter over time. She didn't need him to complete her, they completed each other's growth. She started something bigger than herself, something that no one saw coming. She turned the pain of her past into a mission to help others reclaim themselves. She didn't just heal, she started building others through the healing process. She spoke, she wrote, she shared her journey. It wasn't about fame, it was about purpose. Her scars were no longer something to hide, they were the map that led others back to themselves. He came back, the one who left without a word, without closure, the one who had once shattered her. But this time, she didn't rush to the door. She didn't feel the need to answer. The old her might have been tempted. She might have looked for answers, searched for reason to make sense of the past. But this time, she looked him in the eyes and realized she had moved on. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. The door closed, but she didn't need him to explain why. It wasn't easy. Sometimes she doubted her words. Sometimes she questioned if her journey was really hers to take. But then she stopped waiting for someone to remind her of her strength. She knew she had rebuilt herself not for the validation, but for her own peace. She didn't chase the perfect love anymore. She built a perfect life for herself, and love could only come as a bonus, not the foundation. This time, when love came, it wasn't about grand gestures. It was the little things: cooking together, quiet evening with no words, waking up next to someone who respected the space she had created for herself. Love wasn't fireworks, it was soft, steady, and calm. She wasn't afraid anymore. She had learned to love herself. She didn't set out to be an inspiration. She didn't want to be anyone's hero, but somehow she became one. Her words, her action, her presence gave others the courage to step into their own power, to stop waiting for someone else's to fix them. She became the mentor, the voice, the guide she once longed for. She didn't just heal herself, she healed a community. Love beside her, she still chose herself. took walks alone, still journaled, still sang to herself in the shower, still danced in the kitchen when no one was watching, because she knew she didn't need anyone else to feel whole. Her peace was her own, and no one could take that away from her. She wasn't just a woman who has healed, she was a woman who had become a home. Wasn't looking for someone to save her anymore. She had saved herself, and now others sought her out, found solace in her quiet strength. She didn't need love to be the center of her life. It was simply a part of the life she had built. The love she had now wasn't about rescue, it was about partnership. It was about sharing, not demanding it. She had healed, she had moved, and now she is living. She lived in the most beautiful way.